Thanks for staying with us. It's time to go to the papers and see what made it to the front pages of some of our national dailies. Our guest this morning is Mr. Tunde Kolawole, a legal practitioner here in Lagos. Good morning and welcome to the program, Mr. Kolawole.
Good morning, my brother. Thanks for having me.
Okay, we'll begin this morning with Nature News. Nature newspaper is what we're going to begin with. And one of the headlines there on the top of that newspaper is federal government to deploy 2.5 billion naira worth eye on the sky against illegal mining. There's been this problem of illegal mining, and the federal government is trying to fight it. And this scheme is going to have, or to be called Eye on the Sky. Maybe satellite, maybe something else. But I'd like you to comment on what is happening in the mining sector in Nigeria and how federal government can fight it.
That is a very good development. The mining sector can be described as a gold mine, which Nigeria has not been able to make effective use of because of the illegal activities that are going on in that place. In fact, it could be said that the activities of some unwholesome elements in the mining sector is worse than the activities of the drug cartels that we have in the country and all over the world. They have refused to allow Nigeria to take benefit of those mineral resources. And each time the government have tried to assert its authority in that area, it would appear to me that the government forces have always been focused so that we begin to think whether the illegal miners are stronger than the government. They have their own private army, they carry weapons, they're ready to kill and maim and all that. And it's not just the local, ordinary Nigerian people that are there. Foreigners are also very active in that sector. So if the government is now prepared to deploy technology for the monitoring of activities in that area, I think it will be useful. But it will be more than that. We really need to talk to our people on the necessity to ensure that there is some order in that area. Because what the artisanal miners and the illegal miners are doing today is not just stealing the mineral resources, they are also polluting the environment. So that after they are done with those environments, it will be difficult to farm in there. If there are rivers around there, it will be difficult to use the water or to even fish in those rivers. It's a serious matter. But in addition to what the government is doing, we also need to do a topographical assessment of the minerals that is available in the country, the quantity, and where they are available. Too many times we hear Nigeria is blessed with a lot of mineral resources, but the location of these minerals, the quantity and quality, we have not been able to ascertain that. Most of what we hear is guesswork. I suspect that a lot of work still needs to be done in that area. But we must, however, warn that this country should refrain from trying to depend on solid minerals. This is because most of the countries of the world that depend on solid minerals as the main sources of their revenue, they are not doing well. Simply because of fluctuation of prices, simply because of lack of capacity to beneficiate, to improve the raw solid minerals that they pick from the ground. simply because those who buy those minerals in the international market are the ones who dictate the price. So there's a lot of work to be done in that area. Let's wish the government the best of luck.
Yeah. Well, uh, we can only wish them luck, as you have said, because I think, and a lot of Nigerians think, that whoever is doing this illegal mining, at least 60% of these people, if not 90%, are known to the government and those in power. And why they are taking the eyes to the sky first when they can see them here on earth is what I do not understand. To talk about satellite will take a long time for that to be realized. I'm not sure at the end of this year it's going to be realized, because they have to put satellite on the sky to make sure that they find out who is doing what in what area and all that. So I do not know how that is a low-hanging fruit for the government to pluck, but it has to start somewhere, and it has to something has to give the people hope that all will be well as soon as possible. Another one on this Nature News is study projects sea level rise as Antarctica current slows. Antarctica current slows. So study projects sea level to rise. Now, it's a worrisome thing for us in Lagos State, for instance, because there was a study that said that some cities in the world, especially like Lagos, will be going below sea level at the rate of 0.03% every year, and in the next maybe 45 years, some of these cities might be submerged. Lagos is a land of aquatic splendor, as we say, and the land is being reclaimed all the time. And I don't know why a city that can be like Venice and other cities that are on top of the water will now be reclaiming and making sure that there is no water, there's no water channel anywhere where water will flow into, because that's what is happening in Lagos. Any small land, any space that they find, even on the water, they're filling it and building houses on top of it. So now that we have this report that the Antarctica has a problem, so to say, and the sea level might rise, maybe Lagos State will be affected adversely. But what would you say to the practice in Lagos State where everywhere is almost being reclaimed for building purposes?
Please kindly take that again. I didn't quite get everything.
Summary is that
The Antarctica.
yes, study has projected that the sea level will rise as Antarctic current slows. And I'm talking about, when you talk about sea level rising, you think about Lagos that is reclaiming every land here. And there is already a fear that Lagos as a city may be submerged like other cities in the next 45 to 50 years.
Okay. Climate change is a reality, even though people like Mr. Donald Trump would want to deny that. But if been around for some time, you've lived in the village and also live in the city, you will agree that climate change is a reality. Some of the rivers that we used to see when we were very young and where we used to go to draw water, the streams that we used to go and draw water when we were in the village, most of those ones have disappeared. I also remember in the northern part of the country of Nigeria, rain hardly fall in those places where we were young. Such that most times, almost on a yearly basis, there will be special prayer for rain to fall, for rain begins to fall. And you come to the down south here in the western part of the country, how many of our forests are remaining? Most of the forests have been devastated. They are gone. And also look at the weather. Before now, Harmattan used to be very, very serious in the south, more in the north, and even also you feel the impact in Lagos. But those things would appear to have been of the past. Those are very simple things you can use to measure the effect of climate change in the society. So with regard to the Antarctica, we've been told that the water level in there, or the ice in those places, are melting. And by the time they continue to melt, they become a deluge of water. And when they become a deluge of water, so many places that are below the sea level will begin to get flooded. You and I will remember that we have been told that Lagos is below the sea level. So if Antarctica eventually melts, the possibilities are that places like Lagos could become flooded and unlivable. I was also reading some literature not too long ago in which it was revealed that the capital, I think is it Indonesia or something, I can't remember the particular country, and they are saying that in a few years' time, the whole of that country's capital will be below the sea level, will be flooded. And so the country is now making efforts to identify a new place in the country where they will build another capital. Also recollect that even here in Lagos, at a time, Amadu Bello Way and some parts of Victoria Island used to be flooded until the Lagos authority and the federal government began to do some campaigns over there to drive away the Atlantic Ocean. Part of the reasons I'm told, they also constructed the coast city, which is sitting on water, is to be able to fight the effect of flooding and water encroachment in those areas. So we as a people should be getting prepared and they work very hard to fight this climate change, which is a reality, by contributing our own quota to reducing the heating of the atmosphere, which is mostly responsible for the changes that we have all over the world today. The reason why countries are engaging in green energy and reducing the consumption of fossil fuels is also to reduce this climate change challenge that we have. So it's a serious matter which has the capacity to affect us. All the Nigerian cities sitting by the ocean will be vulnerable when Antarctica finally melts and then the water level in the ocean rises. All those places might be flooded. So let's do our little quota to ensure that we fight climate change.
Okay, well, it worries me. The Third Mainland Bridge, when you're going through Third Mainland Bridge, you find out some places now are being sandfilled in the middle of the water. Before long, it will be a city. Eco Atlantic is now a city where we used to have Bar Beach and all that. Reclamation of land is as dangerous as polluting or widening the ozone layer. And I don't know if the people in authority don't know that. Lagos State is a place that should have water channels, that water should go into the sea, but we're blocking everywhere, whether knowingly or unknowingly, whether greedily or maybe just because of ignorance. But the UN climate chief has arrived in Nigeria for climate action, so maybe that discussion will go around there and we'll see what can be done, especially in a place like Lagos that is almost under sea level already. We'll move to the Business NG newspaper. That will be the final newspaper we'll be looking at this morning. Fuel prices under pressure as NNPC Dangote struggle for dominance. I don't know why the choice of words of under pressure, how it is, but we've seen what is happening. Dangote reducing fuel price, just like he did during the Christmas period. He has also done it now, and he says it's for Ramadan, and to whatever excuse or reason he gave, the bottom line is that he has reduced the fuel price furthermore. And now NNPCL has also towed the line and reduced their own prices, and some filling stations of NNPCL have already begun selling. And we now see a situation where no filling station is selling up to 900 naira. So I don't know whether this is a good sign that Nigeria will find themselves buying fuel at 500 naira or below, or this is just a gimmick or a play of the two elephants that are fighting, and they might just make peace and let us continue to suffer.
Well, if you look at it from the perspective of the consumer, you want to say that these are probably very good times for the ordinary consumer of petroleum products, in that the competition that we have in that area is beginning to drive down the price of petroleum products in the open market.
Mr. Kolawole, I don't know who you're describing as the ordinary Nigerian, because the only people who will have a little bit of relief are the people who use generators, and it's not every Nigerian that can benefit from, can buy a generator. The bulk of the people that I would call the ordinary Nigerians are the ones that commute every day. They have to go through this life, going on a bus or in a car or something, and the prices are not coming down, even when the fuel price is coming down.
Well, you're right. The truth of the matter is that, just like we have said on this program before, if the competition in the market, the production competition in the market continues the way it is, Dangote is already in there now. We have the NNPC. We are told that there are some other modular refineries that are being built. We are aware that BUA is also building a refinery. Elumelu of UPA is also proposing to build a refinery. So when all these refineries come on stream, they will be competing among themselves. And if they begin to compete, I am sure they'll be offering price incentives for the Nigerian people to be able to buy, such that with time, it will have a multiplier effect on the ordinary person who uses a generator, who rides a motorbike, who does a keke marwa, who grinds a pepper, who has a pepper grinder, and those who drive their own personal vehicle. The public transportation too might consider reducing the cost of the fare that they charge. And if the private sector, those the transport union, will be considerate, they are also likely to reduce the cost of the fare that they charge in this area.
That's my concern. That's my concern, Mr. Kolawole. Who will make them bring it down? The concern I have is who will make the transporters bring it down. For instance, in December, during Christmas, from Lagos to, let's say, Cross River, where I come from, I should say that because I'll have authority on that. It used to be 30,000 naira to get as far as, let's say, Ebonyi or Ogoja in Cross River State. It's 30,000 naira. But at Christmas, even when Dangote reduced the price of fuel, the transportation was 70,000 naira. Now it has come down to 40,000 naira. And this is something that these drivers can comfortably charge less than that, but nobody is in that sector to regulate these people, to make them do the right thing. Now, the CNG buses that government has spent so much money subsidizing for people to change into CNG, people are changing into CNG, but the buses that have CNG are still charging the same fare as those who are using PMS with a cost of even if it's 800 or 700 or 900 naira. So why is it that there's no form of regulation or control in this sector? Every transporter does as he likes. So we may never feel the impact, no matter the trade war in that sector, in the power sector, or in the oil sector.
Well, you are right. I agree with you. But the truth of the matter is that prices are difficult to regulate. You hardly can regulate what you don't have total control over. Look at the the transportation sector that you mentioned. Even though they do have a union, they have NURT, they have RTN, and all sorts of unions in there. But then, it's still difficult for government to be able to regulate the fares that they charge for so many reasons. One, there are not too many vehicles on the road when compared to the number of promoters. When you look at the Nigerian roads today, especially Lagos roads, how many new vehicles do you really find on those roads that are being used for transportation? The best you could get are Tokumbo vehicles. And how many of those Tokumbo vehicles are even on the road now? They are very, very few. The few that we have now, or some of the new ones that we have, are those ones that maybe some politicians used to do empowerment programs that they bought and then gave to some of the transport unions and some of their supporters who have deployed them for commercial transportation. With regard to the end of the year, the Christmas and the Eid al-Fitr period and all that, yeah, and I will remember that a lot of people travel at that time. So there's pressure on the number of people who want to commute from one place to the other. And when issues are like that, the transporter will want to take advantage to make a maximum profit at that period in time, because such opportunities are limited. We only be there for just a few months. And you must also remember that petroleum product is not the only input that goes into transportation. If the prices of petroleum products reduces or comes down, the cost of spare parts may not come down. If the prices of petroleum products come down, the roads may not be as motorable as they ought to be. And like I said, all manners of variables come into these things. Even look at the state of security. Sometimes some of these transporters have to hire security men to pilot them from one destination to the other, so as to be able to provide security for their passengers. I am aware that some of these companies that travel from Lagos to Abuja will hire private security companies, hire the police, hire the army and all that to protect the passenger. All this increases the cost of doing their business. So we must factor some of these things into the fares that the transporters will charge. But with that as it may, I believe that if there are more competitors, if there are more producers in the petroleum sector, sooner than later, the price will come down, especially if the naira stabilizes vis-a-vis the dollar. And then OPEC, or the price of petroleum products international market also stabilizes, doesn't go up, either because of war in certain places or because of the force majeure, where some of these crude petroleum products are being produced. So we must take it or get it or put it at the back of our mind, which is universal. That certain prices are very, very difficult to regulate. In fact, price regulation, price control has been tried in this country several times before. It has really never worked. And I'm not aware of anywhere in the world where some of these things work. We could only appeal to the patriotic instinct of the Nigerian businessmen, of the Nigerian transporters, so that they be considerate in the prices that they charge because of the effect on their fellow citizens.
Well, I just wish that the federal government didn't have to lie to us all the time, because if they flooded the roads, like Lagos State, for instance, has BRT, that people have alternatives. You either take the exorbitant ones or you wait for the BRT to pick you up for a less fare that you're going to pay. And also, like it's happening in Ogun State, a journey that should take you 1,000 naira from Mowe to toll gate, as they call it, it takes 300 naira because the government has put some buses on the road that run on CNG, and they are doing this. So people wait in a queue. I wish those buses were more in every state and interstate as well, because it will give people the opportunity to choose whether to go fast and expensive, or to wait, be patient enough and be able to afford it. But that's matter for another day, and I do hope that the government will look into it. We'd like to thank you this morning for coming on the show, Mr. Kolawole. It's always a pleasure having you join us.
Thanks for having me.
Have
Enjoy the rest of the day.
You too. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
We've been talking with Mr. Tunde Kolawole, a legal practitioner here, where we're trying to make sense of some of the headlines that made it to the front pages of national dailies. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll be talking about petrol price drop expected to benefit consumers, according to Rewane. That's just a topic we've been talking here on Off the Press. We'll go in depth to find out what Bismarck Rewane knows and what he's saying. Stay with us.